Oh, really?
For sure. But everyone's going to have their little beers.
Mimosa.
That's where we don't take ourselves too seriously.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So we put it keep it real. A drink just to...
I love that.
Episode 128.
We're already talking. Everybody.
Joel Fleischman Happy Hour
Midstream
Podcast.
Convo already. This is crazy.
Yes. 128. We got Derek Deprey here today.
Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
We got a Coors Light, a Hazy Rabbit Indiana Pale Ale, and
a Vizzy.
And we are switching from Vizzy over to
Carbless.
not sponsored, but sort of sponsored Carbless
Carbless.
that Marcus was supposed to bring in. But we're busy here on the pod.
Womp, womp, womp.
Busy here
I didn't want to say
I
I was going to have water, so I got the
Yeah.
closest thing to that.
Yeah.
Yes, good call.
Yeah.
That's
Also
what you
a
want.
massively produced beer from a South African company.
Yeah.
And we're moving on.
Yes, Derek joins us. Derek was actually here last week at Leadership Development Day. Has written a couple books, Shift and Everyday Leaders, used to coach college basketball, worked for the Bucks, worked at the Wisconsin Athletic Club, ETE Reman, and now he's on this journey of leadership speaking to companies and helping individuals really kind of grow in their everyday leadership journey. So
Is that all you do? Monday to Friday?
That's what I do.
Dang. I want to hear about that leap. Like, when did you just be like, I'm just going to go
that's
do things?
Yeah.
I've actually never talked about that a lot on a
Let's start
podcast
there.
before.
Let's start there. I mean, I know it's kind of deep to get into right
also,
away.
before
but-
we start,
yeah.
Marcus and Jules, who's Jules
Oh,
out
yeah.
there listening.
Yes.
Go ahead, Marcus. Geez,
Yeah,
we're
so
just
I
scaling
met
this
Derek
pod.
back, I believe it was summer of 06. I was going into my junior year of college at Marion playing basketball and knew someday I wanted to get into coaching. And Marquette every summer, still to this day, has basketball summer camps that high school, small college coaches can go work. Kind of a great way to meet the Marquette staff, but also network with
To the Marquette staff, I would give a seminar on the system. Let me know.
Yeah, right.
I'll do that free of charge.
Yeah.
Anytime. We're going to have graph charts, data, that the system works.
Right.
And we paid Marcus about $225 a week to work that camp
Yeah.
for 40
I will
hours
do
a
it
week.
for
So
free.
do the math.
I'll do it
Yes.
for free.
Yes.
Even less than whatever he made. Whatever.
And then Jules.
And probably taxed.
Yeah, I met Derek in 2011, straight out of college, applying for a job at the Wisconsin Athletic Club. So he was the first person to hire me and give me a chance. And
And you guys worked together how long?
2011 to 2018-ish,
Yeah.
and then again in 2021.
How long were you
been
at
that
the
long.
How long were you at the WAC?
I was there for 13 years.
When did you
Started
start?
as 2008. I actually did sales there in 2003 before I jumped into the basketball world.
Yeah.
And then I left and came back in 2000.
At what location, or all of them?
So I started at the North Shore WAC as a GM and then bounced around.
North
after
Shore
that.
is in
Glendale,
Glendale.
Wisconsin.
Glendale.
Yep.
Okay. Right. So my sister, who passed away in the year 2000 when she was 23, she was a trainer at the WAC.
Oh, wow.
Really?
So there's the connection. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, they actually shut down for the day, and they made it a really big deal about her. So, which is a big deal at the WAC to shut down for a day, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's not done.
Yeah.
It is.
And
The
then-
last time they shut down for a day, polar vortex.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
That's kind of interesting. Yeah. So. That was fun. Good deal.
Yeah.
Good story. She loved it. She loved it there. And
Yeah.
they did have a SPAC, which was very, very emotionally hard. They wanted to do a class in her honor.
Wow.
And it was kind of like yoga meets something or whatever. And I was like, it was a lot for our family because they all wanted to like love on us.
believe
And
it.
we were just like,
Yeah. They did a lot
Yeah.
of special things like that.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of different directions we can go with this podcast, right? A lot of layers. Probably could do this for 6 hours and not touch on everything that we want
And
to.
we've said that before. Like I used to watch or listen to Joe Rogan podcast, and it's 2.5 hours. I'm like, what do they talk about? How high are they? But now, if you ever get on a pod, it just flows like you're having a
Yep.
dinner or drinks with friends. You know.
For sure.
Yeah, so I guess jumping into the journey that you're doing now, right? We can go back to the WAC, to ETE, to basketball, to your whole journey, Wisconsin Lutheran, growing up in Manitowoc, right? We can go back a long ways, but what really got you into this area of the speaking, and then taking that into, okay, I'm going to write a book, and then I'm going to write a second book, and I'm going to go, and this is my jam.
Yeah. So it really starts back at the Marquette years. So 2006, we lost in the NCAA tournament to Alabama, and I was asked to give out an award to Joe Chapman. And this was 13 hours before the banquet. This is the day of the banquet. Coach Crean's running in with this flip phone, if you remember those. I'm in this video room with VHS tapes right after the Jurassic period, just before the TikTok period, if you remember VHS tapes. And little did Coach Crean know that I was really afraid to do anything in front of people. And I just said to Coach, I'll
But
do
you
it.
were always dynamic. You just weren't a public speaker. So it was like a conundrum? Or,
I
you were
would not go in front of people and say a word.
Okay.
Basketball camp, for example, Marcus was a part of that. I hired a director of that camp, even though I was a director, to do everything in front of the kids and parents I just did everything behind the
So you
scenes.
just literally were the behind the curtain guy.
100%. So fast forward 13 hours, I go up and give this award out, and I froze. I forgot everything completely. I even had it written down in my pocket. I just turned to Joe, lights are bright, and I just said, and the award goes to Joe Chapman. And I want to go back to my table, call in a hole, and
Which
never
is
see
in his
anybody
book,
again.
and it's much deeper than that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's like the movie version.
It was horrible. And then for the next year, I literally felt every single employee thought of that moment every time they saw me. And then I did that for a year, and then I left to go to the University of Utah.
Because you couldn't get over it.
I couldn't get over it.
And have you ever talked to Joe about it?
A little bit, because I have, like, it's in the book and things like that, so I
Yeah.
have him read it before I
Yeah.
put it out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But we've never really had that real conversation about it yet.
He's pretty straight as an arrow.
Yeah.
He's like, it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
I appreciate everything you did
Yeah.
for me, and it was fine.
But then I go to Utah, and I'm like, okay, am I leaving because of this crash moment? Am I going to overcome it or not? And then I had to start, like, getting in front of people. Running camp, I just read scripts off of notes. And then going to the Wisconsin Athletic Club, we started to grow. We have something called WAC University. And I'm like, man, I sit here and watch Simon Sinek at a health and fitness conference. I'm like, I want to do that someday. But I've had all that fear of crashing all the time. And then I just started teaching WAC University courses and orientations, and was really, really bad. Got sweaty, forgot lines, but got a little bit better each and every single month that I had to step up there and do it.
Yeah, and I think number one thing that I would tell people, back to your scripted Joe Chapman speech, is don't be scripted.
Yeah.
And go
Yes.
even as scary as you are, go further. And the way that I got there is, they're like, well, how do you do that, Joel? You're so unscripted. You're so relaxed. You're so calm in front of talking to people. And I said, so I used to be very nervous in front of people. And I remember when it really, really hit me, I always was scripted. I was always a little clunky. People always said it was good. I didn't think it was good. My dad had me public speaking at a very early age. I read in church. One thing, I went to Holy Trinity Church, a school, and we had to read in front of Mass. All those kids do.
Oh, that's true.
Twice a week, you have to read in front of Mass. You have to get there and do it. So there was some grooming, and my dad put me in front of builders, like older guys to talk when I was maybe 22, but all pretty heavily scripted and very nervous and very clunky. And I was going to speak in front of about 400 or 500 people at the Osthoff. Just hearts a pounding. I'm nervous. It's just me up there. And I said, okay, I'm praying on it. I'm laying in bed. I could take you to the room I was at. And I said, okay, I get it. I will bring up because I always struggled to bring up God's name in front of people. And I said, I'll bring your name up. I'll talk about you. But then you got it. Like, this is
Awesome.
you. Like,
Jesus,
you're
take
going to
the
give me
wheel.
the words. You're going to give me the word. Yeah, it was literally a Jesus take the wheel moment. But if you think about it, if you just trust, words are going to come to you. You have to trust yourself. You have to trust God. Because you don't sit, some people are very, very introverted, but you don't sit at a table of 6 people at Christmas and going, what should I say?
Correct.
And I know somebody's listening going, no, I do. But
Right.
you don't. Conversation's normal, and public speaking is basically the same way. You have a few bullet points, and then whatever comes across, and if it's clunkier, kind of the better.
Yep.
If you stumble and fall, it comes across genuine is what I learned. I'm not the world's best public speaker, but I'm genuine. And the more, we've talked about it on other podcasts, the more genuine you are, the more people adore you. And I think of my favorite people in the world, they're just themselves.
Right.
So, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
So is that
That's why I
really-
don't talk in these pods. My gosh, it's like, this guy comes up all the way.
Hey, it's your podcast.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
No,
Hate
so
it.
like obviously talking about Simon Sinek, I want to do this. I've had these blunders. I keep doing it through the WAC University. I'm getting better at it. What moment did that go from, okay, I want to speak, to now, obviously you've gotten more appearances, right? I think you kind of mentioned at Leadership Development Day where it was the Grafton School District, right? You're speaking there and people are coming up like, this is really good. We would pay for this, right? We'd pay a lot more money. What led to the book venture?
Yeah. So that's where it started. There was somebody in the audience. So in the Wisconsin Athletic Club world, there's a lot of part-time people. So somebody, Liz is her name, she was a part-time group fitness instructor and then full-time assistant principal for Grafton School District. And she was in one of the orientations or one of the WAC universities, and she said, hey, would you do that to kick off our Grafton school year? And then she's like, and we'll pay you for it. And it was $1,000, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool.
$1 million
I'm going to get paid to
Yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Little did I know that it was going to be 85 hours of work because I've never done this before.
Yes.
And then at intermission, the superintendent comes up to me and he's like, and this is just a private one-on-one, this is where I knew it was the moment I'm going to do this forever. He's like, you only charged $1,000 for this? We would have easily paid you $5,000 for this. And then he walked away. and then it got real. And then it was a grind. I woke up every morning and worked at Starbucks. I was the first person in the door from 5 o'clock to 6:45 a.m. for years. And that's how I ended up writing
going to the
shift.
WAC or ET or anything like
Yeah.
that.
No, that was
your
at the beginning of the WAC. That's after this Grafton thing.
Sure.
That's when it really started.
What
I
does
started
that mean,
to
the
build.
Starbucks thing? I don't.
Yeah.
Paul, what are you talking about?
So
Your zone?
So what happened is I would be working a lot and trying to work my day job and then work on speeches and writing and things like that, but I would be ripping it away from my family. It was always between 5 and 8 o'clock at night, and I was never present with my family. That was a problem. It was like I was putting my family last. So what I decided to do is I call it a daily U zone now, is where I was intentionally giving myself alone time to work on my deepest project without ripping it away from my family.
Or your career at that time.
Exactly.
Or what paid your bills? Maybe not your career, but what paid
Yeah,
your bills.
right.
Yeah.
So 5 to 6:30 or whatever in the morning is where I would do that.
I think early morning hours, and if you listen to the pod, you know I get up about 4 a.m. 7 days a week. That's like a cheat code to life. Now, you're a piece of crap by 8 o'clock, but I have
For
not met a lot of people that are productive post 9 o'clock. People are like, yeah, that's when I get like a lot of cool stuff done.
Sure.
They might say I do laundry, but I'm like, what are you doing? I'm binge watching this and that. Like, get your butt to bed, get up, do some U time.
For sure.
Is it like U, like the letter U? I feel like you're like some sort of U guy, not Y-O-U.
I go. I think it should be you. That'd be way
With
cooler.
umlauts.
Yeah.
You always needs umlauts. Motley Crue, it's like you put a U
Yeah.
with umlauts.
Yes.
Anything with a U.
I still
just
do
go
the Y-O-U in caps, and then I go zone lowercase. That's
okay,
how I do it.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense, yeah. Well, consider putting some umlauts.
I will. Thank you. I'm learning.
Yeah.
Y-O-U
Always
umlauts,
learning.
and then you'd be like, why do umlauts? Because it's cooler.
Yes.
Because I read the Motley Crue book, and that is why
Yeah.
they put the
Really?
umlauts on the
Okay.
U. They're
I
like,
didn't know
yeah,
that.
it's just cooler. Bruh. You know, it's like, they didn't say bruh in the
what we
80s,
do.
but they would have said bruh. They were like, rad, man, just rad. 80s people, oh my gosh, I'm 90 million years old. For anybody. Jules has got questions written down. We should do those.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we can go in and out, but I guess
No,
for our
no, Jules is
team,
good.
No,
and
I think this is good because you guys work together and
Yeah.
you know each other so well. So this is
I
Well, and I'm thinking-
love Jules' questions, and I love her voice.
I'm thinking about our team members too, right? We have a lot of multi-passionate, ambitious people that work at Drexel, and you yourself, basketball, youth basketball, driving your daughters around in an Uber, like an Uber,
Yeah.
right? And then this full-time speaking, how do you continue to manage your energy and take care of yourself with that structure, like a U zone and this and that?
Yeah, there's something that I learned that I use and I've taken, like from Carl Lewis, the sprinter, right? And
The national anthem singer.
yeah. And it was, I've always heard my whole life, you got to give 100%, you got to have 110% and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case. I think that's a problem. And I think that's why people struggle with work-life balance and burnout. So what I've learned from this Carl Lewis world, it's something known as the 85% rule. Why not go 85% every single day? And then now I say that 15%, what does that mean to me? The 15% means I'm going to invest 3% in my stress management, my sleep, my food, my exercise, and my water. That 3% times 5, that's that 15% right there. So even when I was working for Tom Crean and Jim Boylan in Utah and these guys, I would, if I had to hide it from them, I would go and work out every single day for 30 minutes. I did not care. And I've done that forever. So that's how I give it energy,
Yeah.
because it's through the workout for me.
And you have to take care of yourself first before you can take
For
care
sure.
of others.
And I think you left out what I would have added was gaps,
Yeah.
like nothings.
Yeah.
Like you did the 85 and you just filled it up with like really intentional things.
Yeah.
Just go like 85
Good
and then
call.
just don't.
Yeah.
Like some days just don't.
Yep.
Don't
And
be
that's just as
productive.
hard.
Leave
It
the
is.
dishes in leave the dishes in the sink every once in a while and be happy with it.
Love that.
The challenge is to be happy with it. Like dishes in the sink, bro. I'm out.
Pick something other than dishes, because my wife's going to be watching this. Oh, that's just perfect. Now I have an excuse for leaving
yeah.
the
There
we
dishes.
go.
All right.
My wife Pam, hi Pam,
Yeah.
does not listen to these, and no, that's not a thing for
Okay,
me at
okay.
all. No, don't. You're already giving me like issues, like anxiety issues. No dishes in sink. Panic.
Yeah.
how many workouts have you missed since you left Utah?
Ooh, good question. I don't.
What's your workout?
So I do 6 out of 7 days, and it's very simple. Ever since COVID, I do half at home and half in the gym now, but I don't have a workout routine.
Okay.
I'm very casual and fluid and go with the flow and listen to my body, because I once trained for a half marathon and I was miserable. I loved working out my whole life, and now I don't like working out. What changed? Because I had to train for something. On the flip side, that's what motivates a lot of people. It's the goal. For me, I'm going to do it anyways, so I'm going to do something that my body needs at this point. It's a lot of body weight, bands, push-ups, pull-ups, things like that, core at this point, and flexibility. I moved on from the meathead stage. The shoulders aren't digging that anymore.
It's, yeah. I just show up at Try Fitness and I just do whatever.
They just tell you, right?
Whatever the instructors do from 5 to 5:45 a.m., that's what I do.
That's one lesson.
I like
that
that shutting the brains off and not making it up.
Yes.
My brain is a squirrel, as you guys all know. So I go from, and then I talk myself out of it. The demon takes over. Like when I used to try to work out on my own, back when Sports Center would be on, I'd be like, oh yeah, I didn't hear that about LeBron James.
And you just sit there and watch.
And then I'd be like, laundry. And then, my coffee's a little not warm enough. And then, it's been 15 minutes. That's pretty, I should probably just get in the shower. And then like nothing happened in 20 minutes. Like, and there's a little bit of, I didn't clean that up over in the corner over there. I should do that. And before I know it, I did. I stretched for 30 seconds and did 50 push-ups, so that was my quote-unquote workout. So I just go to the gym, show up, do what they tell me, get the hell out of there.
Yep.
And I know you talked about in previous podcasts about rebounding for your kids. I do that same thing. And 10 years ago, I'd be like, that's not a workout. Well, today I'm on my feet. I'm not hunched over at a laptop. That is good.
Just
that is movement.
Active.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
And happy, engaged.
Reasonably.
Yes.
If they listen to me.
If
he listens to me.
That's a whole nother
day.
Yeah.
He's got a habit of happy feet where he shoots with Curry with the foot out and the feet are moving and I'm like, my son's interesting. Like he'll really challenge me on it, and then 2 days later I go see him shooting and he's working on it. So I'm like,
love how that works.
He does hear me, so that's good. Okay, keep moving on. That got weird.
Sticking on the fitness, our time at WAC too. I think we learned a lot about human behaviors. Yes, and it's It's one thing to get somebody to move their body, but it's another thing too for leaders and aspiring leaders to, continue to develop their leadership skills. Like with a new or aspiring leader, where would you tell them to start, like development-wise? Like whether it's the habits or what?
Yeah, I think just to back up just a little bit, I think so often it's about just consuming stuff. Okay. There's a book on my desk, so I'm going to do it. I got an email with a blog. I got a podcast. Joel tells me to read something. So you just start, I call it horizontal growth, where you just take it all in. And that's fine, but where are you actually going with that?
Action.
Is it your
application?
Is it your ego, or is this really going to help you in the business and whatever? And then there's vertical growth and there's depth, right? So it's just, I think people understanding that is really important. Where do you want to go deep in your skill development? And when you go deep in something, it doesn't mean you have to go deep the rest of your life.
Sure.
I'm going to take the second quarter of 2025 and I'm going to deepen my skill. All right. So I would say that part for sure.
Yeah.
As far as like how and where to start, I think a big part of it is going back to your history of, trying and failing and what's energized you and what's not energized you and just being mindful of all that. But then I go right to core values. Drexel has core values. They're everywhere. I can feel it when I walk in the door. I could feel it at that thing, right? It was such an easy group to train because everybody's bleeding freaking blue, right? But what are your personal core values? And at some point you got to step away and be like, who am I? And is my foundation rock solid or not? Is it not rock solid because I don't know who I am? I'm doing all this because Drexel's telling me to do it. But at some point, that's going to get old if I'm not truly aligned with myself and my company. So that's where I would start, is that foundation of core values. Because if you're all aligned, then that retention thing becomes a lot easier. Because well, how do I keep my people to stay? Are they aligned with you? Can they bring their authentic self to work every day? And you can't do that if you don't know who you are.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. The two things I was going to say was be curious.
Yes.
Always be curious. And with consumption or not, just be curious. Like, why do we do it that way? Not that'll give you confidence because you'll learn the whys behind other things, and you'll keep relearning what you think you know. That's one of my greatest definitions of wisdom. The definition of wisdom is to relearn what you think you know. Right? I love it. I've only learned that recently. And then the second thing I think is we give yourself some confidence and self-talks. We're all born leaders in something if you're authentic.
Yeah.
Hard to be authentic when you don't know who you are, but if you find out who you are, then just be who you are and just trust that someone in your corporation made you a leader and they believe in you already, and that's enough. Or if you took a chance on yourself, that's also enough. And honestly, if you take a chance on yourself, it means a lot of other people supported you taking a chance on yourself and believed in you. So
Yes.
use their beliefs, and again, God, the little whisper of the Holy Spirit in your ear. That's
Absolutely.
real. That's real. Listen to it. Right? Listen to it. Don't listen to the demons at night tell you can't do it. Get up, work out, get the crazies out, move on.
Yeah, that's good. You know, and we do try to really empower our leaders here to make decisions, to delegate. How do you help somebody with that when maybe they were the go-to person for so long and now they're like, okay, now I need to trust this person? And we talked a lot about micromanaging versus leading.
Yeah. So first of all, micromanaging. Wow. I've heard micromanagers called boss holes recently, and I'm like, wow, that hits home.
Yeah.
But as far as I think delegation and assigning work and all these things, I think it starts with the foundation of like, do I even know the person next to me?
Yes.
Do I know what energizes them, fires them up? Is this something that will connect with their world at all?
Yeah.
And then hopefully there's a fit with that. And let's say there is, and then it's the whole point of like setting expectations, scheduling some check-ins with that person. And it's hard to know how often to check in unless you'd really know that person's experience. So when you came to Wisconsin Athletic Club as an intern, we hired you based on your attitude and your interpersonal skills.
Yep.
And we knew there'd be some sort of drive there. But what we didn't know is how deep you're going to go in the technical world. So in that situation, I'm going to be with you, and I'm going to check in with you maybe the 3rd day, and then the 7th day, and then the 11th day. I'm not just going to let you be for 90 days.
Yep.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah, trust and verify.
Yeah.
Right? Trust and verify.
Talk about that too.
Andy Rutler gave us that one as our company.
Love
Trust
that.
and verify. And especially if you hired these people and you can't trust them, that's on you. I mean, it comes down to trust.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, a little bit, which is a little bit of my secret sauce, if I had to define a secret sauce that I had, which sounds horrible, and it is, but it's the truth. Don't care so freaking much.
You can care too much.
Oh, we've gotten rid of. I've had a part with so many people that care too much,
Yeah.
and they will not let the ball drop.
Yeah.
You gotta throw the ball and let it drop, and you have to let them willing to fail. Look at youth coaches.
Yeah.
So many youth coaches will not let their kids fail to the
Correct.
point that they like. It was one of the best things that I ever did was youth coach because I couldn't touch the ball. I remember taking a timeout. There's a minute left. We're down to. I'm like, we just got to break the press like this. You just pass it to the middle. Any press in the world, if you just get it to the middle of the court, the press is over. It's the easiest thing in the world. Our team's never had a problem with the press until they did, right?
Yeah.
And then when I remember being a youth coach the first, I'm like, okay, don't do like we didn't practice. Get it to the middle of the court. We're good. Break. And I'm just assuming they're gonna go do that, and then it's like,
100%.
you're not doing it. You're not, and it just screaming out of my lungs with 50 people in a little Catholic gym on a Friday night, right?
Yeah.
And
But I
you
think
gotta
the key
learn.
to that too is like, okay, then you've practiced in 2 days. What's on your practice plan? Is it going to be 17 things, or is it going to be a press break and maybe something else?
And even within the press break, how detailed
Exactly.
are you going to get, or how much you're going to let go? And again, the standard is somehow get it to the middle.
Yeah.
My son's a pretty good point guard. It was always get it back to Marcus. Marcus just get through it, which was a blessing to have him. Before I had him, it was more like get it to the middle and we'll just cross our fingers.
Best.
Once we had Marcus, it was like just get it to Marcus, we're good. But that helps the press break when you
For
have a good
sure.
point guard.
For sure.
But yeah, it's more again bullet points and leaving the gaps of communication to let the next leaders on the court figure it out. Or the
Right.
team that you
Definitely.
lead. Don't give them the. It's not scope of work. What do you call that? The detailed procedural. What do you call it? The
Like standard procedures kind of thing?
yeah, where it's just like
SOPs.
SOPs.
Yeah.
I hate those. Right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm okay. We call them blueprints.
Blueprints.
Like I'm good with bullets. I'm not good at defining.
But
them.
that's the beauty of Drexel too, a little bit, because you can be agile.
Yeah.
You can move fast. You can have speed.
Athletic.
Yeah, because if you take that all away, and people are shocked they don't read financial reports. I really don't. I cannot log into our computer system. And they're like, that's wild. I'm like, if I'm going to spend my whole time going back to financial reports with just our history lessons, and then calling people out from our history lessons, that's why we would never be fast. We would be so slow because I'm just going back into time. I'm supposed to be ahead of all of you, but I spend 80% of my time going backwards
Correct.
by diving
Love
into
that.
financials and fixing them and
Right.
guiding based on 2 months
Yeah.
ago's financials, which actually mean nothing for next month or the next year. Drives me nuts. When people just talk about how much look at their financials, I'm like, and what do you learn?
Uh-huh.
You learn what you did.
True.
Yep. Very true.
Is my phone ringing? Can you hear it?
I don't think so.
I think so.
Oh, cool. I wear hearing aids with a Bluetooth, so they're ringing in my ears. It's like screaming. The phone's literally, I can't tell if it's in my ears or outside my ears. Wild.
I was
wild
thinking-
stuff.
Those are called phantom buzzes. That's a thing.
Yes,
you know
it
this,
is.
right?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm being 100% real.
Yeah.
They're ringing in my hearing aids. No, like, I'm being real. There's no phantom.
You're being authentic at work.
Yes.
Okay. No, because I appreciate
I'm
that.
not making it up. Like,
I believe it with the
have Bluetooth
pocket,
in my
But there
ear.
is a real thing
Yeah.
with phantom phone
Yes.
buzzes.
Yeah, like you don't
Yeah.
have, like...
Even if you have it on silent, you feel it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet
Right,
that.
100%.
Car, for
No,
sure.
it just rings in my ear, and I assume the whole world can hear it ring, and they can't.
I shouldn't be laughing at you. I feel
I can
bad
do
now.
brewer games. I can do brewer games on Spotify off of it. So I have done.
yes.
I have done that at times
Mm-hmm.
where I'm listening to music and no one knows I'm listening to music.
Sure.
Anyways, let's keep moving.
Yeah, so we talked about a little bit about Shift, your first
Yep.
book. Everyday Leaders just came out last fall.
Which one's bigger? Like, how many copies have you sold? What's the?
I
data?
have no idea.
You don't track that either.
Not at all. I can tell you this.
How many do you own? And do you have like we've had enough authors on now. You got like a closet full.
Good question. Pretty much everywhere I go and speak, they buy them.
Okay.
And if I'm in Wisconsin, I just throw them in my car and I just go and take them. If it's out of state, I ship them there. And you'd be surprised how many times I run out. I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'm in trouble here. But I have no idea how many I sold. I can tell you on the first day for both, they were bestsellers. But I feel like everybody that's an author just puts bestseller on whatever. I don't even know what this all
Why
means.
wouldn't you?
Here's my best advice. Don't write a book if you want to retire next year. You're not making a lot of, 99.999% of people, you're not making a lot of money from the book. You're doing it for a lot of other reasons.
Yep.
And for me, it's great for a speaking career.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool because if I had like a bar or something, I always wanted to do well. I also said Blue Door, our coffee shop, was the second happiest coffee shop in the world. I always want to have like mediocre Bloody Marys as my signage, right? I would love to have the book. I have no inspiration to write a book. I'd love to say it, never a bestseller. Like I might like my
Yeah.
hashtag on the bottom.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one?
This is not a bestseller. Like it'd be really funny because I just lose. My kids all know that I lose my mind when I'm like, if we walk into a place and like world's best Bloody Mary, and I'll just be like,
Really?
I will have the world's. I'll say it to the waitress. I will have the world's best Bloody Mary. So like, Dad, what are you having?
You
having
did
the
advertise it.
Dad, you're having the pancakes, aren't you? They said they had the world's best.
Best.
Like we're here. We made
Right.
it.
Yeah.
We're having the pancakes.
Love that.
Did you ever change with that, with tracking the books? Because I listened to a Ryan Holiday podcast, and he said he always tracked his books early on, and he became so stressed out, so worried, he felt his writing production went down, and when he stopped worrying about that, everything went up. So were you ever, or was that always just like a, hey, I'm just going to make these books, and whatever happens to them happens?
I would say going into my first book, you think it's going to be bigger than it is. You think you're going to write a book and you're like, oh wow, everybody's going to buy this thing. It's going to be this greatest thing. Well, it was fine, but that didn't happen. So I think it humbles you real quickly within probably a month. And after that first month, so that would have been 2017 or whatever. So that would have been April. I published it in March. I was done tracking books for the rest of my life. I don't track anything. But sort of that P&L stuff hits
So
home.
do you.
Like I don't track my newsletters unsubscribed. Are you kidding me? If they want to unsubscribe, who cares?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like otherwise that's going to bother me, and I'm looking in the past versus looking forward. I'm going to roll in the direction of the 95% of people that want me every single day. I'm not going to let that 5%
Do you
knock
still
me
feel
off
bad?
track.
I don't read any newsletters. I tried to do the Pomp letter. I just subscribed to it, which was the first time in maybe 7-8 years, and I'm subscribing. I'm like, I'm not reading this. So you still find value in newsletters?
Absolutely. I do.
Do you, Jules? Do you, Marcus?
I subscribe to, I have Derek's, I have the Ryan Hawk one.
I have Derek's.
I have Derek's.
You better say that. Yeah. You can keep talking. Yeah.
Ryan Hawk. I unsubscribed from James Clear. I love his newsletter, but I just got it was like almost too much habits, or it was like too much habits. So like I really have kind of cleansed.
I think for me it was like the consumption, where
Yeah.
I just couldn't. Newsletters just like piled on. Even podcasts I don't listen to, it just pile on of like, I can't. When I drive, I have nothing on. Like, done that probably since COVID. I have no music, nothing.
Yes.
Awesome. How about you, Jules? You a newsletter person?
I do actually a little mix. I do a lot of consuming on the go, so I still
Yeah.
do a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, which is great. Again, I'm
And,
not judging
yeah,
anyone. Like, it's a
yeah.
great way to learn. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But you do
What I do-
newsletters?
I have Derek's.
That's it? One
yeah.
of them.
Interesting.
I do.
Well, give me 5. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
I got you.
The brown noses here,
Paid promotion.
The brown noses here will never
It's a
stop.
great podcast. I highly recommend this one.
My eyes are rolled so far back in my head right now.
But I do get overwhelmed. So what I do is I have in my email, I have a folder that's called articles. So when I get the email, I don't just think I have to read it or delete it. I don't get overwhelmed. I just pop it right into the articles. And when I don't feel like doing anything work-wise, and I'm alone, and I just want to be and consume, I go into the article folder, I knock it out in 90 minutes a week.
Yeah.
Is there any commonalities of what's in there, like by somebody, or if you were to go listen or read something like I'm going to take some time away from doing my stuff, being around family, I'm going to go, is there one person or two people you like to read?
So going to your point with James Clear, I completely agree with you. And I could say that for a number of people. So what I do now is I subscribe to Inc. and Medium, where I get to choose what I want coming into my inbox. So self-leadership, leadership, personal growth, professional growth, some wellness stuff, I have that coming into my inbox, but it's coming from all these different authors.
It's filtered. It's almost like AI filtered.
Exactly.
Almost.
And I love it. So I've moved away from almost books, and I consume it that way.
Yeah.
Like Harvard, I'll do some stuff, but I don't have like the newsletter from one person coming through as much anymore.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Jules, what else you got over there?
Well, I was just curious.
sorry.
That was kind of one of my questions
Yeah.
too. Like, you get to this point, and you're the leadership guy, and you're presenting it and speaking and writing. Like, how do you continue to learn?
Oh,
and like,
man. So how do I continue to learn? By paying attention to the little, small, tiny moments in my life every single day. That's how I learn. And there's a leadership lesson everywhere.
What are you? You seem like me, so I'll ask you. Like I assume you're something like me, and maybe for all of us, what are you consumed with right now? Like, what's your current mantra? Like, what's on your tip of your tongue this week? Because it's always shift. If you're grabbing nuggets, you're always shifting your focus slightly, I assume.
It's not consuming anything, because what I'm doing is I'm prepping myself on the third book I want to write.
So that's where your brain's at.
That's
right
where
now?
my brain is at.
Okay, and what is
and
it?
the more I consume from other people, the more it's taking me away from this, and it's not my original.
So what's the focus of the idea in the
Yeah,
third book?
so the focus of the idea
Which is really my question. Like, that is your mantra right now.
Yeah, it's really along the concept of the 1% consumption of things and being consistent over time in leadership, not broad life. Okay, so the title in my mind is going to be Lead on 3, bringing in the team approach. 1, 2, 3. As you say something in huddle, it'll be lead, and then it is going to be probably something about like 52 weeks to lead yourself, lead people, lead teams, which is the 3 self, people, teams, at a 1% clip. So 52 lessons, 52 micro stories.
What do you mean by 1%? 1% better?
1%.
Just slightly better every day.
Every single day.
But every time you show up, you're a little better.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's taking the world of like, we're not consuming as much long content, and everything is going to be packed into shorter. So I can do this. I can read a story and do a little lesson every single week.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people relate to that. Jules, what else you got?
well, that's something I've noticed. Like the stories you share, because that's something I've always appreciated about your speaking, is that you share stories, and it's like you can find little lessons in like everything. So you obviously have to stay present in the moment, or does that come after? Like,
No, you have to stay present in the moment. And what I do is I email myself multiple times a day.
You don't use Google Notes, you use email?
I use Google Keep.
Yeah, Keep. That's what I meant.
Yes.
I call
But
it
I-
Notes, it's Google Keep. I use Keep.
I use
But
that
I still
ultimately.
email too.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I was a very good at Google Keep for a while, and I still something about the email that just triggers me, where I'm like, okay, I
Yes.
see that, and I can, and then I'll put it back in Keep. But that instant buzz, I still use email too. So maybe we're old school, or maybe that's the best way. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so it's somebody that I heard the other day just telling me about how they have 35 direct reports and they have no time to do one-on-ones. Boom, that's a story, that's a lesson right there. But I don't write the story in that moment. I
What do
capture
direct
it.
reports mean? Like people brag about that constantly.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what that means. They 35 people report to them, or they have 35 like literally financial reports to read. I honestly
30
like,
yeah.
I'm so non-corporate. I don't even know what people are listening like. He's
That would mean you're responsible for, I would answer that, you hired 35 people, you're responsible for 35 onboardings, 35 performance reviews, 35 development plans, all that kind of stuff, that'd be a whole nother podcast.
Uh-huh.
That's too many.
Oh yeah. So
If you're gonna do it
what's
right.
the secret sauce? I have an answer to that.
I'm afraid to answer now, but I'm going to give you my answer.
Yeah,
So,
it comes from EOS. It comes a little bit from the tactical, but I have other reasons behind it.
yeah.
Traction, sorry.
So you're that's right. You do the
You're
Drexel
right,
traction here.
Yeah,
Okay,
tactical.
that's a.
Yeah, we've incorporated a lot of little nuggets.
So the book Tribal Leadership is always stuck with me.
Yes.
And I believe it's the number of that 8 to 12 is the sweet
it
spot.
is. No, it is. That's my sweet spot. And then let's go further. How many apostles did Jesus have?
12.
12. Name a sports team of the starting team that has more than 12.
Interesting.
5 hoops.
Good call.
Baseball 9, football 11. Like there's something super magical when you start diving into that, right?
And how many direct reports
that.
at your peak did you have?
Like 50.
50.
Which is very difficult in part-time.
And part-time.
But the challenge is you can't do 7 part-timers. Like you have to scale that up to a lot. Part-timers are very hard to lead because how do
Yes.
you get a hold of them in the right time, the right sequence? When are they all together? You
Yes.
can't have a staff meeting. You can't say we're going out at 4 o'clock. You all are here. That's a challenge.
And like getting a little creative with it too. Like I love that you shared in the presentation, even with our manufacturing team, like the check-ins, the touch points, they don't have to happen formally sitting down in an office. Like it can be a walk. It can be, walking out to the workstation.
If you need a performance review, that means you don't know the person. And if something comes up in a performance review that they were waiting on, how sad is that?
Correct.
I was waiting to talk to you about this. I sit right next to you 6 feet away, and I was so waiting for 17 weeks to come up about this subject. What?
Yeah.
I mean, again, think of any great relationship you have. You don't have a performance review with your best friend.
No.
So how are we doing? I just have a couple things I
Right.
want to walk you through right now that I've been really thinking about. I've been jotting down for the last 90 days before we had this again.
Yeah, hey, remember 6 months ago?
Yes.
You said this one thing and it's been bothering me.
But the danger though is when managers will just say, well, I don't do reviews because I talk to my people every single day. What are you talking to them about?
Yes.
Yes.
Saying how are you once, and I'm a big second time person, saying how are you is not talking to them. Saying how are you twice, I don't know if I've ever talked about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
podcast.
How are you really?
Right, so I will say, how are you? And how are you really?
Love that.
And that second answer is so different. And just literally breaking bed with them and then having a sixth sense, like, I know you good enough. I love tough love. I love that terminology. I think that might be a Gordonism. Not sure. That tough love means, no, love tough, not tough love. Love tough means I love you so much I can be tough on you. Again, back to youth coaching. I always felt I could be so tough on my kids because I love them so much, right? But if you just come in tough first,
Doesn't
then you're
work.
back to performance reviews and it doesn't work and it's a horrible
Rules
horrible
before
thing.
relationships lead to rebellion. I don't know
man.
where I heard that, but
Let me see what
yeah.
As it should, as it should.
Yeah.
You don't know me, right? You don't. How dare you? Right? And we actually changed we have a core value to accountability, and I told everyone to keep. And again, we started from a very small company. I told everyone to keep everyone accountable. I did that for years. Such a horrible thing. Now that we're 800 people, I don't believe in that anymore. The non-doers in our company, the leaders of these departments, are the accountability bridges. Because you haven't earned it. Because nobody else has earned the trust and respect. How can somebody? I'll say it this way: Marcus.Wiegert. How can they hold Joel.Fleischman? We only know each other through an email. I'm going to call you and hold you accountable to core values and some standard and procedures that you did wrong that impacted my team, and I've never met you. Oh, hell no, you ain't. Like that, and I encouraged that for a decade. It sounded right. I'll just say, hey, hold everybody accountable. We're all a team here. Then I forgot they don't know each other at all,
And trust.
ever.
Trust is hard.
But leaders can do that because I know that whole team's group, or I could talk to the other leader. Are you having a problem with Jules? Can you talk to her? Because our team's having a problem with Jules.
Yeah.
That works. That's not telephone tag. That works.
And one of the best ways to build trust is through positive reinforcement. That's the thing. Like, I remember I heard this Whole Foods CEO and founder, John McKay, I think is his name. And when he'd go tour and visit stores, when he saw something he didn't like, he didn't go and tell the employees.
He didn't earn it.
He didn't have a relationship.
Yeah. Well, you didn't earn it. I say you didn't earn it.
He would tell the manager about that, right? And then going into some research on that, Harvard Business Review did some research that found that the magic ratio for feedback is 5 to 1, which means I should be giving 5 pieces of really helpful feedback, positive feedback to somebody for every one time I would give something constructive.
Right. Well, I call it the gold coins, the bucket. So a gold coin is every time you build up a relationship, and we do this a lot with our customers. So why do some customers freak out when you do something wrong, and some are like, "Oh, Derek, I love you. It's no big deal." Why is that? It's the gold coin relationship bucket. or I say it even this way. So every time you do something good, it's a gold coin. Every time you do something bad, the gold coins come out.
Right.
So you want that bucket
Your bucket.
overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
And the one way I relate to it back is dating, right? Marriage, dating, whatever. If you go out on the first date and get absolutely blitzed and puke in the back seat, you're probably never going to see that person again. If it's the 20th year of marriage and you've never really done anything like that, they're probably going to help you clean it up. It's funny. What's the difference? The gold coins are overflowing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, gold coins disappear quick. Trust disappears quick. You do it 3 weekends in a row. We're going to have a talk.
Yeah.
But that
True.
first time, that's the difference, right? It's the first time at a restaurant. Things got to go impeccably well. It's my hometown restaurant. I've been here 100 times, and I have horrible steak. No problem. What's the difference? Gold coins are flowing out. So that's when you take the opportunity for hospitality and relationships and love and care and trust is built. But you got to keep the coins coming in so you can take some out. Hey, I'm going to give you a really hard criticism, or I really failed you. Are we still good? And when a person looks at you in the eye and says, yeah, we're good, that's because there were so many coins. When the coin bank is empty, that's when all hell breaks loose. That's when, and back to business, that's when you are a commodity and you better be the cheapest.
Right.
Like, you better be the cheapest. Because if you're not the cheapest, why am I buying? What if it's transactional? What if you? Who cares? What do you mean you're leaving the whack? I thought we were good. We were good. We're no longer good. The coins are gone, and Planet Fitness is $19 a month. $9 a month, $7 a month.
Yeah,
That's a
what
whole
is it? I don't
podcast in
know.
itself.
Yeah.
Have you read that about Planet, like their business model?
No.
It's a
Not recently, but-
well, if you think about it, it's a genius business model. They charge so low that you would never cancel because out of guilt. Like, am I really going to give up life? And then they really don't want you to go, so the equipment lasts longer. They don't want the hardcore freaks. They want them to go to the whack, the radar, the treadmill. They're training for a triathlon. They don't. Planet Fitness is like $19 a month.
You're not
but-
going to even think about it in there.
yeah, well, are you actually going to cancel? Like,
Yeah.
if you cancel something for $19 a month, you're like, I've hit rock bottom. I'm canceling Planet. Like, I'm out. Like, I've just given up on life.
And
so
for
they
my health.
that was their business model. Yeah, that's
Interesting.
very interesting.
You always learn so much from different industries,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you do. In odd ways, or about yourself, or just
I know.
about life. You know.
All right, we're at the time.
That's
So
incredible.
man.
Incredible.
I
I feel
I
like
could
we
have
have
went forever.
like it's like an onion. I like we haven't even cracked open that
I
first
know.
little.
That's crazy.
That first little skin, you know, that you can't eat.
And we've actually gone 10 minutes over.
No
So,
way.
so yeah.
Crazy.
So you got one billboard.
So he's coming back on whenever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Open book for sure.
He'll be here every week now.
Yeah.
moving forward, so.
We're gonna just do this 40-hour stuff.
So you got one billboard on 94, 41, whatever highway you want. It says one thing. Does it mean something family-wise, work-wise, whatever? What does it say and why?
So I don't get the two billboards like Bergstrom when I go from Milwaukee to Fondy or Appleton. It's
your
boom,
podcast.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
It's your
Like,
podcast.
If you want to come
have
on, keep coming
Like
on, you can
Jordan
keep
Love
building
that
on
I
that.
could
Only
do.
if you
Yeah.
sponsor.
So we
only
can-
if you have Aaron Rodgers as a sponsor, or Jordan.
Then I
Love,
can.
yes, you can. That's what
There you
Berkshire
go.
does.
Exactly.
But yeah, you can put three. I mean, this is your.
all right, so there's two because you know
just take you this
I spent some money like Bergstrom did, and I would say there's one with self leadership and one with people leadership. The self leadership one says, "Do it afraid," and the people leadership one says, "I see you, I believe in you." So the do it afraid piece, you said why. It comes down to, I don't believe you can wake up and find your passion. I believe you have to execute and get up and do it afraid to ultimately then find your passion. Effort turns into passion. Effort sparks that for most people. So what is it? Before they turn on this podcast, these people, you know exactly what it is. Now do it, right? And then the other one is, I see you, I believe in you. Those are words from a mentor that says, oh, those are the 7 magic words of leadership. Like, I picture that Drexel room, and I'm like, I look around, I'm like, this is cool. You know, we're all here. It's like a group fitness class. We're energized and ready to go. But you know what? Who's not in the room yet? So when you leave the room, it's us as leaders going out and being like, it's not the person waving their arms. It's us being like, I see you, I believe in you, and you're the next person that's going to come into this room.
And what are our 4 words for that, Jules? Kevin Hancock at Hancock Lumber. Do you remember? Seen,
Heard, trusted, and valued, or respected.
seen, trusted. Now you got me goofed up. Seen, trusted, respected, and heard.
Yeah.
Like, are you seen, trusted, respected, and heard? Right. That, for us, it's 4 words.
Love that.
Which we got from Kevin Hancock. I mean, he believes his mission is to change the world, like all 8 billion people. I'm like, bro, I'm just trying to do it. Like, bro, 3 times. I love it. I am hanging around my 15-year-old son way too much. But, like, we're just trying to change 800 people's life with a trickle effect off of that, or one person's life. But yeah, seen, trusted, respected, heard. If all your team is seen, trusted, respected, heard, you got a good team.
Awesome. Thank you.
What's it? So that billboard that's black and what does it look like? Is it like the Nike black background, white font, or what does it look like? Yeah. What does it look like?
My billboard, there's nothing on it, just the words.
Yeah, but what is it? What's the background color like? Is it a white and then black font? Is it Arial? Is it Times New Roman?
It's whatever font Drexel uses with a blue background.
There you go.
That's what it's going to look like.
Ooh,
Because
real-
Marcus said,
so real
"You ready
name?
to answer anything?" He's even
I'm
like
an Arial guy. Like I just
I'm
use
Gotham.
Arial font.
Gotham.
Okay, see that?
Yeah.
See, we
Okay.
got
And
two.
Microsoft doesn't use Gotham, so everywhere I go, I got to have the people put in Gotham into my fonts when I use my
And
PowerPoint.
whoever using Microsoft
that.
have some words. My goodness.
Aren't you going to do those T-shirts at one time about Comic Sans?
I did.
Oh,
I actually did
yes.
a little bit. Yeah, no, I had a shirt. Well, we had the first shirt that we came out with was yellow, and it just said yellow on it, and then it was a yellow shirt. And then we had a Saturday shirt that we launched, and then a Times New Roman shirt that we launched.
Times New Roman.
We'll
Yep.
see.
And then I wanted a, I can't think of it now. ASTM. Yeah, look at your font. ASDF. Does anybody do ASDF over and over again? See, I think there's only like
No.
a few people in the world. So on the second row of your keyboard, because I'm a lefty.
Me too.
I just go, yeah, that's awesome. That's why
Let's
we
go.
So I used to just sit when I would be like fidgety, and I would just type in ASDF with my left hand. What would be the right ones?
Yeah.
HJKL.
Really, no one does the ASDF.
No, and I'm not going to.
Yeah.
You know, he's like,
Well, I just sit there and I would just I'd have like a half a page of just ASDF sometimes.
that's hilarious.
So I wanted that to be a t-shirt, but the Times New Roman one.
I remember writing "I will not cheat anymore" when I cheated on some art project in grade school, but yeah, not that thing.
I
like
love
a
the
t-shirt
I
sign.
love the t-shirt. I hope both teams have fun when you go to a youth event. I love when a mom or dad wears
cool.
those shirts. That were fun.
Look at that.
128.
Here we go. We're out in the books. Peace, everybody. Love you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.